Hello everyone, my name is Daniel and I'm just a casual racer, and today I'm going to show off one of the biggest projects that I have ever worked on within the sim racing space, and that is Authentic Simulations Rush SR. This is an officially licensed project. Rush AutoWorks, based out of Houston, Texas, are the developers of this car in real life, and we reached out to them last summer and worked out a licensing deal with them. And there's a lot of really cool things that'll be announced coming up, including our major distribution partner and some of the details and behind the scenes look at developing this car. But for now, I just kind of want to give a taste to those, especially those who have already been following this project and kind of want to see where we are at right now with everything. So I've actually driven the Rush SR. I took 2 short sessions behind the wheel at MSR Houston, which is where we are right now, and I drove the counterclockwise layout, which is what I'm driving right now. And it's really cool. They actually gave me a steering wheel that was on one of the cars, so actually right now I have hooked up on my rig the exact steering wheel that you see on screen for this car. So it's really been immersive, but also been great in helping to dial in the force feedback and make sure the forces that we're feeling, you know, are exactly what I experienced when I drove the car. And then we've been working with just over half a dozen actual owners and race drivers of the actual Rush SR in our testing group, and they've been providing invaluable feedback on the development for this project. And yeah, it's just really a lot of fun. So what I'm going to do here today, and this is something I don't normally do a lot of, at least not in my videos, is hot lapping. And so in real life, I ran a 150.05 or something right around there. It was just over 150, essentially 150 flat around this circuit in the counterclockwise direction. And so that's what we're going to do here today. You will see that I am going to be significantly faster. You will find online that some of the fastest drivers drive in the upper 130s. I believe the fastest is a 137, around there. But you'll see videos at 139 or so, and that's obviously in optimal weather conditions. So really, you know, developing any sort of project like this where you're emulating a real car and where you have access to all of the exact data and, you know, a lot of proprietary information, right, that they've trusted us with, it's always, you know, a real kind of privilege to work on something like this and be able to bring something to life exactly, or as within 99% is kind of what I always tell people is what I'm striving for, of the real thing, you know, and working within the limitations of the Assetto Corsa physics engine, using as much of the extended physics as we could. You know, developing the braking system, for example, was actually kind of a challenge, but we were able to nail that eventually. And so we've got this car as tricked out as we can. It's got a full dirt system, a full damage model. We've got, you know, advanced materials and everything that we can put on this to make it visually impressive, and we're going to still try to add, you know, additional selections, for example, on the dash there for the telemetry and all that options. We're hoping to have at least 1, maybe 2 other options that you'll be able to select through a custom control selection, and, you know, just be even more like the real thing where you can choose exactly what you want your telemetry to look like on that screen. You'll see right here. Oh, and I'm losing it in the corner here a little bit as I talk and try to drive. See my lap time here. It's interesting too because I've done some talking as feedback with some people when I'm driving it, and my lap times will be quite close to what I actually did in the real car. And then if I just buckle down and focus, you know, I can do mid 140s, 145, 146 pretty easily as well. So definitely, you know, I find it interesting. We've had feedback from some of the test drivers that within give or take maybe a second or so of their actual times, if they're, you know, not pushing like within, I guess, driving it realistically, from some of them, and some of them even pushing, and then of course within what I would consider a pretty reasonable margin even for when they're driving, you know, without any regard for self-preservation like you can in a sim. Yeah, even then it's still within, you know, 3-4 seconds from what I've found, at least. And also too, driving this car, most of you know, I get the occasional, you know, experience on a track day behind a really cool car, GT4, the Rush SR, for example. our McLaren GT4, the Rush SR. I've had some time behind a couple of exotic sports cars and things like that, but it's always one of those things where, right, most of the time I'm behind a simulator. And so having the ability to actually sit in a race car, I never am pushing at my full. I don't want to risk bottling it. And then also, too, it's like, what is my own confidence levels? I want to stay well within what I'm comfortable with it. So, I mean, I will drive pretty hard. It's not like I don't drive hard at all, but I never want to go beyond what I think I'm in control of. And the actual car, I actually did spin it in a corner, but it was one of those things where I was carried way too much speed in, hit the brakes, and I felt I was going to loop it, and so I just did kind of a controlled little loop, and then unfortunately, I ended up stalling the engine, and it took me a while to get it going again. But it's one of those things where we don't have to worry about that too much in the sim, because you won't be stalling your engine with the car we've got here. We've also got a reverse, which the actual car does not have, but we're going to leave that in, since obviously it's more convenient to have reverse in the car for, obviously for online racing and just not having to wait for a tow truck or something if you get pinned up against a wall or whatever in the sim, like you kind of have to do in real life. So right now we're on a 147 here. This car is really one that I find to be quite enjoyable. It's a track day car in a lot of respects, meaning that this car is really primed to be pushed. It has a huge amount of aero, downforce, and high-speed corners, and drives, as I would say, kind of like a GT3 car in the middle to high-speed stuff, and in low-speed corners, it drives a lot more like a go-kart. It's got extremely quick steering rack, which we will have adjustments for to, you'll be able to have it set so it's not quite as quick as the real thing, but go over the crest. And yeah, it's just been a lot of fun. I've spent, I don't know, maybe almost 1,000 hours if you added it all up, working on the physics for this car, making sure that it drives as accurately to the real thing and also my experience within the real thing as possible. Straight out to the wall here. 47. We'll give it one more lap here. Be a little more quiet and focus here. Alrighty, so we're flying down the straightaway here over 110 miles an hour, shift into fifth, 117, 118. Lock up the wheels a little bit. Hold it flat here. The car doesn't love curbs, and that's the way it is in real life. It's not really a curb monster. Don't think of it like a GT4 car that you can take flying over a lot of curbs. This is definitely not that. As much speed as I can to this high-speed corner. Don't wreck. Slam it down. Down into first. Through here. Pretty good run here. We're on pace for 145. I am in no way an alien, and I'm really interested to see what some of the fastest sim racers can do in this. I'm sure they'll match or even exceed the fastest laps that the real drivers have done in this car. Not having to worry about that fear factor necessarily. We're under 145. We can just keep it together. Come on. There we go. There we go. 144.071. So that is the Authentic Simulations Rush SR, or digital recreation of the real thing. Let's see if I can get out and show you a quick preview around this thing right now. Alrighty. You'll see we have car right here. This is the Historic Sim Studios paint scheme on it. If you are interested in actually having your paint scheme or brand or whatever just email me, development, or email, excuse me, Authentic Simulation, development at authenticsimulation.com, or you can also just email me directly at daniel at authenticsimulation.com, and we'll discuss. We're pretty reasonable typically on pricing, $20, $30 for a livery, depending exactly what you want. If you want a combination, right, we can do something, $40, $50, and we'll get you 2 or 3 liveries. So definitely something to hit us up about if you're interested in getting your brand and sponsorship on a Rush SR livery for our digital version. So yeah, and this car really, in terms of the details and things like that, I think we've done a really good job. You'll notice inside there's a can I get in here? Yeah, it's a little tricky, but we got all the details. Suspension moves, suspension animated. We got there's the engine there. We've done the best we can to make this, even in parts that you might not see that much, we've still gone to the effort to make sure we model every bit of it, and we didn't want to get a license and go to all the work of replicating something as close as we can on the physics side without also taking time to do the same visually. And so we're really hoping that, a lot of leagues and people will be excited to race a project like this. We've put thousands of hours into as a team, and is really going to help launch the Authentic Simulation brand kind of in a big way. And that being a brand, with some of the top creators for Assetto Corsa, and then of course also we're going to be focusing on a lot of other sims as well, with myself, Tyrone Hesbrook over at Nuke Drop Tracks, and Andre Roca over at DinoSpec. The 3 of us are co-owners, and we are the ones that are working really hard to develop a professional simulation studio that will be producing extremely high quality content, not just for Assetto Corsa, but Automobilista 2, GTR Revival, Rennsport, Assetto Corsa 2, and whatever the other sims that we can put our cars and content into, and also just help and business to business support, which has been kind of our primary role over the last year, and now we kind of want to do some more public facing projects as well. So really excited to get this project in your guys' hands. We're only weeks away from being finished on our end. Right now, the sound is the biggest area, so we're going to work on that. And yeah, real excited to get this project out and let you guys get your hands on it. And I'll have more update videos here coming up shortly, so I'll share those when we get them out, and also have some other exciting news as well. So thanks so much for stopping by. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me take this quick spin of our Rush SR project. Most of all, I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your week.